Where were we? Alright, Melindra says. A flower, these rocks that you see in front of you. Yeah, yeah. Out of my entire collection, these are probably my favorite ones. Do you like them? Yes, I love them. Flower says. They're so beautiful. And do you also like talking about my rock collection with me? Melinda says. Of course, Flower answers her. As I hear them talk so passionately about rocks, I try to lean closer to the stones on the ground in order to get a better look at them. No matter how much I try to study them, however, I cannot find a single thing that would distinguish them from any random rock that you can pick up from a cave or from the bottom of a river. Well, you see, Flower, most people would consider these rocks to be nothing special, Mundra says. Not only that, but they would also consider having a rock collection and talking about it to be a very childish thing to do. She then turns towards me, just as I'm leaning forward, examining the rocks on the floor. Isn't that right, Barry? Melinda said. Asks me with a smile. Kind of, I tell her, as I now turn to face Melindra. I'm not going to lie, it's a bit of a weird hobby to say the least. None of these rocks seem even remotely interesting to me. People consider rock collecting to be something childish, Flower asks Melinda, shocked. Then why do you keep doing it? It's because I don't care what people think, Melinda says, as she gets closer to Flower. It's my hobby, not theirs. If they don't like it, they can think of me whatever they want. But doesn't it affect you when they say that you're acting like a child? Flower says. Let me tell you a little secret, Melinda says. An important part of being an adult is to no longer care if people call you a child or not. You are who you are, and that shouldn't change to fit other people's preconceived notions of what is and what isn't appropriate to do at your age. People insist on considering a hobby like this childish, then let them. They are the ones missing out, not you. Yes, but Flower says in a more hesitant tone, but she does not continue her sentence. She falls silent for a few seconds, contemplating Melindra's words. You don't need to change who you are if you don't want to, Melindra tells Flower. If you like the person that you are already are, then stay that way. It's not worth making yourself feel miserable just to obtain some recognition from others. It's not about recognition, it's Flower says, then she falls silent again for a few seconds. It's just that Petal is my best friend, and I don't want to be a burden to her, Flower says, as the look in her eyes is turning a little sad. Why do you think that you're being a burden to Iluna? I ask her, because Petal is always so serious and so dependable, and I'm just me, Flower says. I don't want to be a disappointment to her. Every time when we talk about my age, I feel like she gets more and more disappointed for some reason. I think that she is finally beginning to get tired of my childish behavior after these past 20 years. That's why I'm trying to change. I just don't want to let her down anymore. That's not why Luna is looking disappointed when you talk about your age, I say. It's because I suddenly realize that I'm not sure if Luna's confession from earlier was meant to be a secret or not. Would she be upset at me if I told Flower that she felt guilty about the fact that the girl can no longer age because of her? Maybe it would be better if I avoided telling her that for now. Look, I tell Flower, we had a conversation about this with Luna a few hours ago. Before we woke you up the first time in the tunnel below the Ceridium Tower. She specifically said that she has no problem with your childish demeanor, and also that she sees no reason for you to change. Not only that, but she even went as far as saying that you are perfectly fine the way you are. Melinda was there too, she can confirm it. She really said that? Flower asked Melinda with a hopeful look in her eyes, almost unable to contain her happiness. Those were her words, Melinda says. I never thought that she would ever say something like that about me, Flower says. I was kind of thinking that she was beginning to regret getting stuck with me in the same body. It's just that she always seems so annoyed with everything I do. Hey, Luna is grumpy all the time, I say. That doesn't mean that she hates you or anything. You should know that by now, and besides, she gets annoyed with everyone, not just you. For example, just before we woke you up, Rose and I were trying to get Luna to open up to us a little bit. What? For example, just before we woke you up, Rose and I were trying to get Iluna to open up to us a little. But do you know what she did? She took the first opportunity she had to walk out in the middle of our conversation and go to sleep. Can you believe that? I suppose that would explain this half-eaten sandwich that I have in my lap. Lover says. Exactly, I say. Anyways, so the point is that no matter how Iluna acts, we all know by now that she doesn't really mean it. And you should know that too, so there's no need to keep worrying about things like that, alright? Okay, Flower says, I'll try to stop worrying about it, but I'll need some time to decide what to do about it. The way I've been acting lately, I'm still a little confused about what it is that I want right now. Hey, we're not in a hurry, I say. Take your time, sort everything out. Just don't forget to do some of Arca's training too when you're not too tired. After all, the God of Time isn't going to defeat himself. By the way, excuse the sound if my my verbiage sounds a bit weird because I have a little cold. I'm honestly surprised that Arka hasn't said anything this whole time, Melindra says. I would have expected her to be more than happy to share some of her wisdom with us while we were talking with Flower about her problems. I think Arka is sleeping at the moment, Flower says as she takes the amulet in her hand so she can take a closer look at her. You can sort of tell by the feel of her aura. Arka sleeps, Melindra says, looking genuinely shocked. Since when? I don't think I've ever seen her sleeping before. She does sleep from time to time, but she usually only needs a few hours a week or less to be well rested, Flower says. It's just another one of the perks she gained after she absorbed all those thousands of souls into the magical plane. You know, aside from her overwhelming magical power and her near immortality. What do you mean by near immortality? So, how do you wake her up if you need her when she's asleep? Do you spin her amulet? Does this mean that we can draw a fake mustache on an amulet and she won't notice? That is hilarious, but I want to talk about her near immortality. I mean, that even if you kill her, she won't stay dead, Flower says. Most banshees will die for good if they are killed while they're possessing a human body, but that is not the case for Araka. I think what she does is that she splits the damage between all the souls she's absorbed. So even if the possessed body gets killed, she can just go into her spiritual form and jump into a new one. That's why Aiden and Elea had to come up with that spell forbidding her to possess any hosts that are part of a civilized races, so that they could at least limit her powers. Any host except for you, because that spell no longer recognizes you as a human after your fusion with Luna, right? I say, right, Flower says. Wait, I say, but what if Araka tried to possess Tyrath and said, isn't he like crazy strong and he's a monster, so the restriction wouldn't work for him? Him being strong does not mean that Araka would gain any advantage by possessing him, Flower says. What matters is how similar is the nature of the two souls are, not how powerful the host is. Even if Araka were to possess Tyrath, she probably wouldn't be able to gain more power than a regular mage when using his body. But I doubt that she would be able to possess him. Dragons are well known to being immune to mind-affecting spells, so I wouldn't be surprised if this would make them more resistant against being possessed as well. Also, the stronger someone is, the harder it is to be able to possess or to absorb their soul. So I don't think that Araka would have any chance to take control of Tyrath even if his guard were down. I see. I say. Hey Flower, Melinda says, are you planning to do any training tonight? I think I'll pass for now, Flower says. I still feel a little tired about everything that happened yesterday. Well, we still have a few more hours to kill, so I guess we could play some cards for now, Melinda says. And when we get bored of that, I would show you some more of my rocks. I actually got a few new ones while I was walking through these tunnels. Ugh, I say. Not the rocks again. Oh, Melinda says with a smirk. Do you still not appreciate the magnificence of my rock collection, Barry? Then I guess I have no choice. Flower and I will have to spend the entirety of the night shift explaining to you in great detail what makes these rocks so unique. I'll teach you everything I know until you will become an expert in rock of all shapes and sizes. You're far too kind, I tell Melinda, but there is no need to spend so much effort just for my sake. Oh, but I insist, Melinda says as she begins to take some more rocks out of her backpack. Flower, would you mind moving just a little to the right? I'm trying to align these rocks perfectly so that I can properly highlight the best traits for each of them. For the next 3 hours or so, Melinda and Flower made sure to give me a complete rundown of every single characteristic that would consider to be valuable for each individual type of rock, and they also showed me how these traits would blend together to bring even more value to what many may consider to be just ordinary stones. What the hell are they talking about, honestly? Obviously, even at the end of the night shift, my original opinion remained largely unchanged, but at the very least I could now say that I understood what made the difference between an ordinary rock and a collectible rock in their eyes, so their hobby would no longer seem as incomprehensible and illogical as before. When our 4 hours were up, we went back to our room to wake up Kate and Layla. I'm getting sleepy, dude, from all this. As the two of them were getting ready to take the next shift, Harry got up from his bed as well, saying that he wanted to practice his new techniques for a few hours in one of the emptier corridors. Once Harry, Kate, and Layla left, Flower, Melinda and I went to sleep, and we didn't wake up again until roughly 4 hours later, when everyone was already packing their bags and getting ready to leave. After quickly packing our bags as well, we called Hardwick on the transceiver, and then we all met with him outside our room. so that we could head for the waiting room together. You okay, Hardrick? Darren says as he pats down Hardrick on the shoulder while we were walking through one of the corridors. Don't forget that you can always talk to us if you feel like there's something you need to get off your chest. I appreciate the concern, Darren, but you don't need to worry about me, Hardrick says. I was having a bit of a bad day yesterday, but after a good night's sleep, I feel completely refreshed. I'm all ready for a rematch